Don't be good. Be great. Make noise. Make history. By any means necessary. Legendary.
The founder of the Anthony Lawrence Collection clothing line, and who's also the assistant boys basketball coach at Dallas Madison High School, Coach Defron Fobb, is here with us today. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here. So we're going to dive right on in. Talk a little bit about the Anthony Lawrence Collection. Tell us a little bit about this initiative you have going on that's sweeping the Metroplex. You've been working with all these high school teams. We watched a great promo video. Talk to us a little bit about the story behind that.
Actually, man, I started my brand back in, I got started in 2006, to be honest with you. I did my groundwork while working at home, helping manage a Foot Locker. Also had a friend working Dillard's. When I came up with the idea, I just thought of an idea where I could bridge everyday wear with some kind of style and some kind of fashion. So that's where the whole thing started. Later on, I got interested in doing colleges, and how that started by is I got hired on by, I think it was Lids at the time. Foot Locker had bought Lids, and I had a great relationship with Foot Locker from my time working there. To actually the owner of the Foot Locker flew his son down to try to stop me from teaching to take on the running the store that they had bought, which was an LSU store in Mall of Louisiana. And actually, I was the first black to work in the store. Like it was like they was talking about maybe it should be a movie made, because the person that bought the store, I don't want to say racist because I never met the guy, but he didn't hire black people. I ran the store so well, that's when they came down and wanted to actually hire me full time. They was going to up my salary, but I like teaching and coaching, so I didn't take that route. But when I was at the store, I looked at the merchandise and I saw everything that they had for LSU. And I just thought, like, man, HBCUs don't have this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, from the Nike exclusive stuff, like, they just wasn't giving it to HBCUs. And I saw how the LSU fans would react to the merchandise because it was just LSU merchandise. So then that's when I started to broaden my horizon. I got to looking into being licensed for HBCUs, and I had a couple of friends that helped me with that situation. And then that was like in 2015, it's 2021, man, and it's taken off from me. God's been really good to me.
Wow. So you started from the bottom. You didn't have a rich uncle to leave you an inheritance to start your clothing line. You mean to tell me you started all the way from the bottom, Coach?
I started as a trainee at Foot Locker, man. At
wow.
Foot Locker, probably one of the only Foot Locker workers that can go back to that left over the summer, went taught, and came back home from the summer and still had my job.
Wow.
It can't be like a microwave. Like, people want quick success, and like I said, I started my business in 2016, and people are just hearing about it in 2021. And I've worked with a lot of people that people wouldn't even know that I work with. But at the same time, like, you just have to keep going. And that's what I try to tell kids. Like, you just can't quit at the first no. Like, if somebody tell you no, it ain't no, like, and I'm gonna bring it into basketball terms. Like, if somebody say no, you can't play now as a freshman. Nowadays we up and we just leave and we want to transfer because it's not going our way. You know what I mean? If you apply that in life and business, you're never gonna make it. Because if I'd have stopped when I went to the first person that's asked me to wear my shirt or would they wear it, and they told me no, then where would my company be right now?
Do you remember your first no?
Yeah.
You do?
My first
Tell me
no.
about your first no.
Juvenile.
Wow.
Juvenile was my first no. Boosie was my first yes, and then Kevin Gates. Juvenile no wasn't a no like he didn't like it. It was just a no. It didn't fit the stage show that he had at the time, and I eventually doubled back and ended up working with them. So it wasn't like a no, like no, I don't like it. It was just a no. It wasn't for that. It wasn't right at that time. It's funny because me and my friends that was talking about this the other day, man. Had E40 inbox me. He wanted a jacket I posted, and so one of my friends like, was this the most famous person that I ever worked with? And I was like, nah, man. Like I just don't take the credit for it, but I actually co-designed a shirt for the Watch the Throne tour with JayZ and Kanye West. I didn't design it myself, but I co-designed it with a friend of mine, and they actually wore the shirts like for after parties and stuff like that. I've done work with the Core City DJs. If you're familiar with the Core City DJs, their logo is my creation.
Wow.
I've done some stuff for HBO with boxing promotion, Ludacris, Ronaldo Nehemiah, just a lot of different people, and people don't understand. Like sometimes people pay you not to put your, you know what I'm saying, not to put your name on stuff, which that doesn't bother me because I know my work, and
right.
it's just a lot that goes into it behind the scenes that people don't understand. Like you have to crawl before you walk. Oh man, that was inspired to me from by a rapper back home by the name of Mineli. He's like my favorite rapper back home, man. Like he's like the JayZ to me back home. And he had that on the intro a while back. And I've always used that in some kind of form, or even when I went to college, I used it. And so with the campaign I have going on now, man, I thought it just fit the basketball and the kids and the programs that I chose to work with on this first campaign. Cause it's self-explanatory. I mean, most people want to be good. All right. But don't just settle for good, be great. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just talk. You hear a lot of talking about we this good, we that good, and that. Okay, don't talk about it. Go make history with it. All right. And then by any means necessary, I mean, be legendary. If you do those two things, nothing's gonna stop you. You're gonna be legendary. Teamed up with, I actually went and got the big guns for that one, man. I went and got this guy named James, Beast Mode Production. He actually worked with Nike athletes. When I had my vision for it, I knew what I wanted, and I knew the scale that I wanted it on, but I didn't know it was gonna cost that price, to be honest with you. And so I talked to him about it, and he knew exactly what I wanted, man. And I told him I didn't want just like a mixtape. I wanted to be to highlight not only the product, but I wanted to highlight those programs. Everybody got the gear, and I actually have something special coming for them in March Madness that's really gonna shock a lot of people. But the project, man, it took us like 2 weeks just getting all the footage, and I had to contact those coaches, in which a couple of those coaches I knew offhand, Waxahachie, Bicentennial, Face Family, Duncanville, man, they welcomed us with open arms once they heard about what the project was and the title of it. But I don't think nobody expected the video to be that. He sent me a sneak peek, bruh, and when I heard the intro, man, I was like, it gave me chills. So I sent it to my brother, them, and then my nephew, because my family is a big part of what I'm doing, and they was like, bruh. And that was just like the part that I showed you. It wasn't even the whole video. Oh man, it is hard work, dedication, and prayer. I mean, that's all it is, man. It could get a hold, it could get to be a lot if you don't get a hold of it, and it could be draining too. You just have to find what works for you. You know what I'm saying? I like to work out in the morning, so I'm up at like 4:30 every day. So I get my workout in, and then from after I finish my workout until it's time for me to go to work, I'm working on business stuff. And I just have been blessed in different situations where I could just do both. Actually, like it hasn't been a strain on me health wise. Mentally, it could be draining. I mean, it could get you down. And the thing about this business, man, nobody buys clothes all the time. So if you really relying on that to just, if you let that dictate your health and your mental, you're gonna be in real bad shape.
So tell us a little bit about your background in sports.
High school, I don't like to brag on myself, but I was very good in high school.
Now here's your chance.
Louisiana's finest.
Yeah, one of Louisiana Baton Rouge finest. I won't be afraid to say that.
Okay,
averaged 30, 10, and 9 in high school.
Is that against 1A competition? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. I'm just kidding.
Some people can't hit 30 in the gym by themselves.
You're right.
Kindergartens.
30 is 30. You sure right.
But nah, coming out of high school, man, I decided to I went to Wiley College. Well, actually, I enrolled at UL for a semester. And then while I was there, bro, I'm just going to be honest with you. I thought to myself, like, bro, if I come here, I'm going to be in school for 10 years. Like, I was real with myself. I wasn't going to even lie and be like, bro, like, it ain't had nothing to do with the competition. It was just the life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I went back home, talked to my grandfather and talked to my grandmother. And then, you know, I had a situation where Wiley College came to the table and they made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. So I took that offer, was able to take a couple of friends with me along with the process. They don't even do that no more. But and so that was a good, I stayed there for 2 years, and then I transferred to East Texas Baptist. And that's where I finished my career, my undergrad career at. Left there, man, tried to do the semi-pro thing for a while. Didn't work out, but I had my education, so I was good. Went back to school, enrolled at Southern, started working on my master's. Then that's when I moved to Chicago for a minute. Out there, I was still playing basketball for a while, but still working. And then I got back into Foot Locker out there. And then so the World Foot Locker, I helped manage that. That's the store that's on the Kanye West video. That was my store. So after that, I just stayed, man, and got my master's degree in education leadership. And this is where I'm at today, man. I tell kids all the time, education is amazing. Education and relationships open doors that no ball can. There's no bias. This is mine.
And this is based off of this season.
This is based off this season, this basketball season.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
CJ Nolan, Cason Wallace, Keontae George, Wade Taylor, Ronald Holland, Harrison really hadn't played that much. Colin Smith, Jalen Tyson, man.
Fobb's top 10. Y'all tune in. Y'all listen. Y'all hear it live. Breaking news.
It was rough. I said Wade, right?
Yes.
Got me sweating in here trying to think of this list. Something told me to write this down because I knew this was coming.
You're on the hot seat.
Zurich Phelps. I think
Okay.
Zurich is up there.
Okay. What's that, 8?
That's 8.
Man,
Two
I'm
to
looking
go.
for somebody. Oh, bro. I gotta throw the kid from Kimball, Rio.
Yeah.
I like him. Jerome Rogers and Caden Kidd.
Okay, that's 11.
I get. Okay.
20, dog.
Okay. Fair enough. No, there's so much talent here in this area.
Yeah, I ain't even named the kid from SOC.
Yeah. Antonio Pat.
Too many. I got kids that I just favor a lot, like KG, Kaysen, CJ Nolan. Like them three to me is just they gonna always be that three for me, regardless of where they at, what they doing.
All right, well, let me put you on the spot one more time. The Waxahachie team. Who wins between the Waxahachie team with Larry, Trey, and Quay, the one that you coach, or this year's team with CJ Nolan?
What team I'm coaching?
Your team, that team.
That team then.
Okay. Okay. Personnel wise, are those teams close?
No.
No?
No. And I say that because I was there for me and Gober came in at the same time. Like he hired me. Okay. And what we walked into was very different than what was there now. You know what I'm saying? And coaches know this, that when you hire a new coach, you got to go in and you got to change. You got to change everything. So Larry, Trey, and Quay, if it wasn't for them, in my opinion, we wouldn't be talking about CJ Nolan right now. And that's no knock on CJ Nolan, because he was, to me, was fortunate enough to sit under those guys and compete with those guys every day that helped him get to where he is now.
Absolutely.
So, and I don't think people understand, like, if when you say them three names, Larry and Quay always jumps off the page, right? But to me, Trey was the engine that made everybody go. You know what I'm saying? Like
this Trey, by the way, is the
Trey Gibson at Tarleton State.
Who's at Tarleton State right now, right, putting up really big numbers right now.
Like the kid just was different, and we use this term all the time. But he was one of the only kids that I've ever coached that I know competes at a whole, like everything's a competition. When people make when you hear these stories about Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, that they competitive, Trey could go in them categories. Like Gober and I would have to make ball handling drills a competition, and he would change like that. Like the kid, it amazes me the way that kid let us to compete. Not, and that's not a knock on nobody else on the team. He just was a different competitor than the kids that I've been around. He was just different.
And as a young player like CJ Nolan coming up in that environment, that naturally makes you a better player because you going against that on a daily basis.
And they didn't take it easy for him.
Absolutely.
They did not. And then we forgetting Jalen Rager.
Yeah.
Man, that team had so many pieces, man. It was ridiculous. I mean, them practices was like games.
Well, what was what's the kid name? Was Damani playing there?
Damani was on that team. Yeah. And then it was Damani. So you had Larry, Trey, Quay, and then we had two other starters. I can't remember all those players at the top of my head, but they was on one team. All right. So then you got CJ Nolan, Jalen Rager, and Damani on another team. And Jalen Rager is one that hate to lose.
So is mine.
In our practices, if you lost the shooting drill, you got on the line. Like that you could lose a free throw contest, you running. So just imagine, like, nobody liked to run.
Right.
So that team was that team was totally different from the team people see at Waxahachie now. But I think that was the stepping stone to what Coach Gober has today. I try to get in a zone where it doesn't. You can't say you don't hear it because you're gonna always hear it, but you can't react to it. You know, you have to be in control of what's on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe first time a team sees the coach rattle, they get rattled and they lose focus. So you have to instill in your program and reel that in the practice. And I always tell my players, I tell them at halftime, I was like, I know you want to please your parents, you want to please your AAU coach, but they not at practice with us. Yep. They don't know what we working on. They don't know our goal. Okay, all they want to do is see you score. All right. Everybody wants to score, but you got to know your role, and you got to trust what we doing as a coaching staff and in this program that's going to be best for you. And I think that's hard for parents to understand. I really do. I think they don't know the game plan of the coach. They don't know the game plan of the team. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so it's easy to sit in the stands and judge. It's like when you're watching a football game on TV and they show the replay. You made your decision based off you saw it happening. The coach got to make his decision based on what he thinks is gonna happen. You didn't already saw the results, so now it's easy to judge.
Hindsight, yeah.
So it's easy to say what you would have done after the fact. And then a lot of times, the parents, they don't even understand, like the kid don't even want to be put in them situations that they yelling from the stands. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot it. Like, why? It's a reason he's that wide open. So I think, I mean, it's gonna always be there. And then, like one time I went home and I had to catch myself because I was that uncle, because my nephew he was doing some stuff that I know he's not supposed to do, or that he's better than what he was showing. And then I had to reel myself back in, like, man, you becoming what you don't supposed to be doing. You yelling something, the coach might have told him something different. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you just got to take that in the note. Like, you just can't come to games yelling stuff. You never know who's listening, who's watching. And I tell my kids this on every level. You never know who's watching.
It's always somebody watching.
Always somebody watching. It's the same way in schools too, though. You know what I'm saying? So as a teacher dealing with it, I've just learned to deal with it. And I've always said, let me come to your job, and I don't know what's going on, and let me tell you what to do and see how you would like it. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't like that. Yeah. So just let me do my job. I don't know no coach that want to lose a game on purpose.
Right.
And I don't know no coach that wants bad for a player. Like, if that's happening, then we have to reevaluate who we hiring and what we're doing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And Mobley always have a saying. I remember when I first heard it, I started laughing. Said, "Go get it, come back with it."
Come back with it, go get it, come back with it.
Man, I just thank you guys for having me, man, and I appreciate everything you guys doing for the kids in the whole DFW Metroplex. And man, it's just a blessing.
Shout out to the Anthony Lawrence Collection founder, Mr. Keith Fobb. Appreciate you joining us, sir.
All right, man, appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
All right, sir. Thank you.
And then I want them to see how you respond. See, I'm real open with it. I don't try to hide it. I don't want to be something that I'm not. So let's go get it, okay? This is real. If you're tired, go sit down because you're not playing. Okay? Go.
You have to eat the dream. You have to sleep the dream. You have to dream the dream. You got to touch. You have to see it when nobody else sees it. You have to feel it when it's not tangible. You have to believe it when you cannot see it. You gotta be possessed with the dream. The dream.
Yeah. Any weapon formed against us shall not prosper. Young started with oozing noodles, now we eating lobster. As I walk through the valley with my ladder and flex, I'm the realest nigga, I just happen to